Hey yo everybody, in this video I'm going to be doing my quick overview of Planet Zoo's new Twilight pack, which should be launching tomorrow at the time this video is coming out. So in this overview I'll just be going over the new animals and scenery in a timely fashion. We'll look at the highlights, I'll share my thoughts, and hopefully it'll give you all a better idea on what to expect in game with the Twilight pack, so let's not waste any time and get right on into it. Kicking it off with the face of the pack, we have the Raccoon. On first impressions from when this pack was first announced, Planet Zoo's Raccoons looked undeniably good, and thankfully in game they look no less amazing. They've got a very clean model with that classic slightly arched back that you'd expect to see with a raccoon, and some really good looking fur. Like seriously, Frontier have done a really good job this year with the fur textures on their animals, and the raccoon is no different. So on first glance, you have a really good looking raccoon, but what about the animations? Well, I gotta say that there is a little less charisma in their animations than I originally expected. You know, raccoons traditionally are very curious, charismatic animals, using their mischievous hands to get into all sorts of different things. Well, unfortunately, I haven't been able to find a whole lot of this in Planet Zoo, but merely tastes of it. I think what really would have helped give them a way to use their hands more creatively would have been a new enrichment item specifically designed for them to use their crafty hands to get like food or something. That's just my own idea, and I'm saying that because there already is a lack of new enrichment items in this pack, so I just figured I'd mention that. Of course, Planet Zoo's raccoons still have some great new animations, some of my personal favorites being when they lie down and scratch their face, as well as when they reach out and play with the water from the jet enrichment item. Overall, raccoons may be a somewhat surprising addition to Planet Zoo, and even a pointless inclusion to some, but no one can deny that Planet Zoo's raccoons are ultimately solid and well done. They have a fantastic model, the sounds are great, and although I was hoping to see them use their hands more often, I still think they have some great new animations. My only other complaint that I could really think of is that I wish they were a bit bigger. Planet Zoo's raccoons are smaller than I remember raccoons actually being. You know, in real life they can actually get quite chonky on a heavy garbage diet, and so I would have liked to have seen them be a bit bigger in game, but maybe that's just me. All in all, I'm happy to say that raccoons make an awesome addition to Planet Zoo. The red fox is a good example of an animal that may not have excited everyone at first, but ultimately turned out to be a worthy addition. One of the biggest reasons for this is all in the model. They have this very clean, cute, elegant, slightly stylized looking model, and I can't tell you guys enough how happy I was to see this. Because originally I wasn't sure what to expect with the red fox, so I'm happy to say that I find them very visually appeasing. But other than visuals though, how about the animations? How is the red fox different from the other foxes in game, especially the Arctic fox with it being so similar? Well, no surprise, the red fox takes most of its animations from the Arctic fox, and that's okay, it fits the red fox very well. But while its rig and most of its animations are the same as the Arctic fox, you'll also notice some unique things about it. There are a couple animations I've seen that I believe are unique to the red fox, but I'm not 100% sure, so I could be wrong. Thankfully though, there is one thing that we can be sure is unique to the red fox, and that's the fact that they can use the burrows. Really glad they did that, as it gives the red fox something unique about it, and something true to the real life counterpart. Overall, I'm really happy to say that Frontier did not break their streak of making consistently good foxes. I am pleasantly surprised at how much I like Frontier's new red fox. They have an adorable model, they have what I believe is a couple new animations, they have some beautiful color morphs, and they can use the burrows in game, which is something that the other foxes cannot. I feel very happy with how they turned out, and I'm glad to say we finally have red foxes in Planet Zoo. When it comes to Planet Zoo's new bats and walkthrough exhibits, I've decided that I'm going to save everything about them for a separate video where we can give an even more in-depth look as to how they work and what you could possibly do with them, because the truth is, there is just so much to look at and talk about with Planet Zoo's new Egyptian fruit bats and their walkthrough exhibits, so much so that they really deserve their own video. But I will say in this video that I am very happy with the overall product of bats in Planet Zoo, and really glad Frontier has made this a thing. I have more to say, but I will save it for a separate time. I was expecting Planet Zoo's new striped skunk to be more of a slightly remodeled, reskinned version of the European badger, but I'm happy to report that just like all the other animals in this pack, skunks have ended up pleasantly surprising me. I genuinely find the skunk to be a solid addition to Planet Zoo, thanks in part to its very clean and cute model. Like seriously, a lot of clean and cute models in this pack. But with the skunk, it's all in the face for me. They nailed the facial look of this animal, and even the main body itself looks very good. The one thing I'll say though is that the tail is very clearly the binturong tail, and I would have preferred for it to be raised more often, as skunks do, and for it to be a bit bushier, but I get that fluffy fur is a tougher thing to pull off in this game, so besides that, I'm left happy with the visual appeal of Planet Zoo's skunk. And when it comes to animations, no surprise, the skunk basically functions the same as the European badger, going as far as standing up in front of the sprinkler just like the badger does, which is something I didn't know skunks could even do. I had no idea they could sit upright. But I'm honestly fine with the skunk basically acting the same as the badger. They are both mustelids, and the skunk looks visually different enough to the badger that I'm honestly content with it. With all that being said, there are a couple surprises with the skunk. For one, I wasn't expecting them to use the burrows, but thankfully they do, which just gives them more life in my opinion. And two, although I haven't tested it out yet, the skunks do have their anal gland under the tail, suggesting they can do their classic move of spraying their victims as a defense measure. Again, I haven't tested this out yet, but I feel pretty confident in saying that Frontier have included what basically makes the skunk a skunk in Planet Zoo, and that's pretty cool to see if you ask me. Overall, the striped skunk is ultimately one of the weaker animals in this pack, but I still find them to be a very pleasant addition to Planet Zoo. I think they have a great model, a solid animation set, borrowing largely from the badger, and some extra cool details such as their presumed ability to spray in defense. My only real complaint is I wish they were a bit bigger, just like the raccoons, and I wish they raised their tails more frequently, but besides that, I'm really happy to have skunks in Planet Zoo. Planet Zoo's new common wombat was actually my most anticipated animal of the pack, just barely passing bats. I'm a big fan of Australian wildlife, and I have been really looking forward to seeing some new Aussie creatures, especially marsupials, for a long time now, and I know I'm not the only one. Well, I'm happy to report that for their third marsupial, Frontier has once again knocked it out of the park. The wombats are done incredibly well. The best of which is its very realistic, cute, and round model. The fur textures look just amazing, and the overall shape of the animal is perfect. They really captured the sense of oomph that wombats bring, going as far as making them honestly bigger than I expected. I really love how they didn't hold back on the size of the animal and made their version of wombats big wombats. A lot of people don't know how big wombats can really get, so that was great to see represented in the game. And not only is this animal strong in the model department, but Frontier has gone all out on the wombat's animations. My personal favorite of which is the butt scratches they do with the rubbing pad. It's very cute and funny, and I love seeing it. Of course, they can also use the burrows, which makes total sense when you learn that wombats are the primary burrow builders of Australia. And best of all, the thing I was most relieved to see, yes, the wombats have what I call the marsupial birthing animation, obviously carried over from the koalas and kangaroos. It's really great to see that they took the time to make this, and it really helps solidify the fact that this is what makes them marsupials. Overall, the common wombat is easily my favorite habitat animal of the pack. They are just about perfect in every way I wanted them to be. They've got the gorgeous model, they can use the burrows, they have proper marsupial birthing, and they're thick. I mean, you don't get much better than that. If you're not entirely sold on some of the aspects of this pack, such as the scenery or maybe one or two of the animals, well then I would say that you should at least buy the pack for the wombat if nothing else. And if you do buy the pack for them, then I can promise you, you will be happy with Planet Zoo's new wombats. And now only if we could have the Tasmanian Devil. Depending on who you ask, some people will either love the Twilight Pack's new Halloween scenery or will have zero use for it. It all depends on you as a player and what you're interested in. So with that being said, I cannot speak for everyone in that regard and give you guys a fair assessment on whether this new scenery is yay or nay. All I can do is speak from my own experience playing around with this scenery, and based on everything that I've learned so far, I feel confident in saying that you can absolutely find a lot of use in this scenery. Trust me, it's there. Not only is it good for decorating your zoos in a Halloween setting, but I myself have already found use in a lot of these pieces in a non-Halloween setting. For example, the new Romanian shingle roof tiles, as well as the new mason work wall set can be used for a lot of different projects, including just general European architecture. As well as the new foliage in the pack, you can definitely find a lot of use for, and even the new animal signs look really good in my opinion. I appreciate the realistic style. If I had to describe the Twilight Pack scenery best, I would honestly say it's like the thematic Christmas theme of the Arctic Pack met the Europe Pack's realistic theme and agreed to come together and be the Halloween pack for Planet Zoo. You have a scenery set that can be very thematic and wondrous when all brought together, but can also stand on its own and be used for a lot of realistic building when pulled apart. And so if you ask me whether the Twilight's pack scenery is worth it or not, I would tell you guys that I personally believe it's worth it. With that being said, I completely understand why for some people, this is still a largely useless scenery set. A lot of the pieces in this pack you can honestly find in other packs, most notably the Euro pack, and there's definitely other pieces in this pack that are just too goofy for some individuals. And so, if you're someone who's on the fence about this pack and the scenery just isn't clicking with you, then I can totally understand why this one would be a pass, but that's just my own opinion. The new scenery in these packs is always the most subjective part of every DLC, and so everyone is entitled to think what they want of the Twilight pack's new scenery. It's all just an opinion at the end of the day, though I will say that for myself, I enjoy it, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Planet Zoo's Twilight pack is still unexpected, and it will still be considered unnecessary to a lot of players, and it really does cater largely to Halloween fans, which is definitely not everyone. But for every reason that this pack shouldn't exist, there's another reason why it should. I have found a lot of use in the new scenery when it's all pulled apart and used in more than just Halloween settings. And even the animals, I've really come to love all the new animals in this pack, and I'm sure a lot of other people will as well. I will go as far as saying that I honestly like the Twilight pack more than the Conservation pack, but hey, that's just me. I can 100% understand why some people won't find much interest in this pack, and why others will absolutely love it. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what you as a fan and a player choose to add to your game, and if for whatever reason you do decide to end up getting the Twilight pack, well then I think you're really going to enjoy it. And that is it, everyone. That is my quick overview of the Twilight pack. I really hope that everyone who chooses to get this pack will find a lot of fun and creativity in it, just as I have. But I want to go ahead and say thank you to everyone for watching this video. Feel free to give me your thoughts on the pack in the comments down below, and stay tuned as I have more videos on the Twilight pack coming up, including my more in-depth look at the bats. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.